This is Purple Shirt Thursday, the forum for excellence in solution delivery. Because at the end of the day, it is all about delivery. My name is Daryl O'Brien. Today is March 18, 2021. Hope that everybody enjoyed their Green Shirt Wednesday yesterday for St. Patrick's Day. And welcome to Purple Shirt Thursday once again. Today our subject is going to be process, but a little bit about us before we move on. Purple Shirt Thursday is a podcast and a website dedicated to gathering and sharing information about big solution delivery, which just means big giant solutions to big giant problems that have crazy impact across the enterprise, multiple organizations throughout the enterprise. And you can find us at purpleshirtthursday.com. Find this podcast there as well as others and other sundry items such as music. And whenever we make a reference to an article, a book, or some other piece of information, we will share the link to that both here in the credits at the end of this podcast, but also at the website as well. So look there. So today we're going to jump into the basic elements of solution delivery once again, and we're going to focus on process. We're only going to talk about it for just a couple of minutes at a very high level. We're going to define what process really is, because that's important in creating and developing process. So we'll start off with a basic question. What is the purpose of process? So read that again. What is the purpose of process? In general, we're not talking about a process or a specific process. When you ask that question, you get verbs like identify, improve, streamline is always a good one, prevent, standardize, things like that. But in this case, we're just talking about process in general. What is the purpose of process to begin with? Well, it all comes down to one word, and that is consistency. Step 1, step 2, step 3, result. Step 1, step 2, step 3, result. Step 1, step 2, step 3, result. Rinse, repeat, ad infinitum, right? So consistency gives us a standard result that falls into different flavors. So we use different words to describe consistency in our work. More often than not, we'll hear words like this: predictability, reliability. Last week we talked about compliance, and we talk about things like efficiency and productivity. HR might use words like ethics and code of conduct. They'll leverage process to reinforce behavior in the workplace. And then my favorite is cadence. And we'll talk more about cadence in a future podcast. That's very important to me in terms of solution delivery. But there's lots of different words that are related to consistency that we use to describe them, depending on where we are in our work, our roles, where we are in our careers or our lives, and the objectives that we're trying to achieve or that we've been given. So we'll use different words, but it all really comes down to consistency. And these words really help us identify what the goal is that we want to achieve consistently, right? So process really is a goal achieved by a set of steps repeated consistently. How's that? Fair enough? So let's say it in a different way. Sometimes you hear people say a goal without a plan is a dream or a wish. Same here. A goal without a process, in this case, is a dream or wish. You're not going to get consistent results without a well-defined process to help you achieve that goal. Now, what happens if we flip that around and we have a plan or a process without a goal? What do you call that? A plan or a process without a goal is just a blank. So in my mind, best case scenario, a process without a goal is really sort of, I'm going to hold this up, a roadmap or a map that is good at showing you where stuff is, but has no connection or correlation to where you want to go why you want to go there, what are your expectations when you get there, and how will you know? And so there's no correlation. Worst case scenario, or if there's no goal to support a process, you'll hear words like snafu, foobar, cluster, um, big giant messes where you kind of stand around and look at it and say, huh, look at that. That's what we did. Or maybe a better way to put it is big giant volcano erupting, and from a distance it looks very spectacular, but you don't want to get too close because you'll get hurt. So, so it's very important to start off process with a specific goal in mind, and then build a process to help you achieve that goal. So here is a process cartoon that kind of shows what we just talked about. When process goes off the rails and it's not driving towards a specific target or a specific goal, you can pause this and read it. This is by one of my favorite web comics, XKCD. You can find them at xkcd.com. There'll be a link in the credits, but also on the website if you want to go to it. If you go to it, just kind of skim through all the different comics. Some of my favorites are the 90s flowchart, or the Balmer curve. That's a fun one too. So, but there's lots of favorites out there. People have their favorites. But again, we want to emphasize that a goal must drive process. And quite often we are in a, so it's not unusual for us to be in a workplace where there are defined processes, but there's no defined goal behind it. The processes are not driving towards something. And so they're this mysterious thing that's out there, and you question, why do we do this? And usually it's because that's what we always do. And so what often happens in organizations is you'll have this goal, a process is defined to support this goal, and it works beautifully. It works beautifully. And over time, it really helps you. But then your market changes, your products and services change, your company grows, you have more employees, things become a little bit more administrative and maybe bureaucratic in terms of HR types of things. Teams change, there's team structures change, the methodologies change, technology changes, lots of things that are impacting your work. And so over time, this process that once worked so beautifully becomes rigid, and not very helpful. It starts to become a constraint. So what often happens is team members will address it by adding to the process and adding extra steps, extra conditions, things like that. And then the process starts to become cumbersome and unreliable and difficult to manage. And your original goal starts to fall off target. So without understanding what's really happening, it's hard to manage. So what we need is, under the process, to start capturing feedback at every step that we can and measure that against the goal regularly. So this is feedback about the process to the goal. You're matching how well the process is affecting the results towards the goal, right? So this is not about feedback about how well the goal is delivering for the company. It's strictly feedback about the process for the goal itself. From there, once you have that in place, the process becomes much more scalable, maintainable. If you do need to make changes, you can do that, understanding the whys and what needs to happen, and have a nice flexible process. It also helps you understand when is the end of life for the process, because processes, like everything else, have a life cycle. So this is a great tool to help maintain your processes and keep them vibrant and, again, flexible and scalable. So we're going to redefine what a process is. Process really is a goal achieved by a series of steps with continuous feedback repeated consistently over time. So again, I think this is important to understand as you're moving into an organization and starting to build out new processes or change processes, to understand the foundation that has to be set first. A goal, a series of steps to support that goal, to achieve that goal consistently, regularly, and then a set of feedback loops that give you information about how well that process is operating. And then when you can get early indicators as to when the process is not helping deliver that particular goal. If it's slowing it down or shifting it a little bit, you can get early indicators there. So that's it. That's our podcast for today. As always, if you have questions, if you have suggestions, if you just want to talk about some of this stuff, love to nerd out about it. And also, always, if you want to challenge something that we have to say, we'd love to do that. Any inputs that you have are always make us better. You can reach me at Daryl@purpleshirtthursday.com. Would love to hear from you. So with that, we'll say have a great rest of your Purple Shirt Thursday, and we will see you next week.
I've been wearing my hoops. I've been wearing my big old silver hoops. I've been walking around the house in them, babe. I've been chilling on the couch in them. I'm accenting with socks. I'm accenting with brightly colored socks. I've been putting a show on for me, babe. I'm the only one who knows it. It's whatever we feel. It's whatever we wanna do. It's whatever we feel. Whatever we wanna do. It's whatever we feel. It's whatever we wanna do. It's whatever we feel.